Greetings. Well, today we're going to look at a very cool new functionality that I'm just beginning to figure out, and I'm not exactly sure all the ins and outs of using it, but I do know that at the very end I have a problem I could use your help in solving. If you see a solution to the problem presented then, I'd appreciate you letting me know. What we're going to look at today is something called cube analysis. Most of us are familiar with the cube drill down. If you're not, I will expose you to that before we get into it. But just a new way of doing a report that you probably never thought about before, never knew about. I've just now discovered it myself, and so let's go ahead and get started. For sort of a platform to do our presentation, my presentation, I'm using just the financial statements. It doesn't really matter at all if you have these. These are the latest and greatest. And I'm doing a little report down here that I'm calling Wage Audit, down in the section called Management Reports. And what we want in the final tally is across the row, across the column headings, we want each of the different employee expense accounts, and down the rows we want each of the employee's name. Now, you may be familiar with doing it this way. I'm going to show you the way I would routinely do it, and then I'm going to show you the new way. So routinely I would take this and I would define a criteria, call it a summary link, and I would take it against the ledger. Okay, just doing this rapidly since you've seen it all before, and I'm interested in all 81 accounts. So we go 81 ZZZZZ, those are my employee expense accounts, and I want it for 2009 and 2009 012. If you feel like I did it too fast, you probably ought to back up and look at one of the earlier videos. This is something we've done before, and so I'll get this. And now this takes. Oops. Well, let's see what I do wrong here. Got a little carried away with the zeros. There we go. Alright, and we extract it. It takes a second for this to extract because it's the full set of financial statements. Okay, we have no problem having a report where we know the column headings. For example, in our net assets, we have no problem expanding the rows. We know these are the column headings we need, and then having a variable number of rows as we expand, that is no problem for us. Where the problem comes in is when we are dealing with where we don't know how many rows or we don't know how many columns. Okay? So what we have done in the past is that we have to do some sort of drill down, where we drill down by, let's say, account code and description, and then we take these columns here and we drill down by employee name. Let's see if this works. Okay, and so we end up with our wage audit report here. There's a couple things that are a little unsatisfying about this. If we can scan over, a couple things unsatisfying is that this report, this has become a drill down in the report. I suppose I could save it, but then I would have two wasted pages that is sort of weird in a report, and I'm not exactly sure if there's a way to hide these worksheets that bring me to the final thing. Also, as a problem is I don't have a good way of doing a heading a, a title. All of our other reports have nice headings up here that explain the name of the organization and the title of the report and the period covered. Well, with this drill down report, I do not have that. And so it's just a drill down that has to be maintained. What would be much better is if there was a way to have a regular page that would do the same thing, the multi-column, multi-row thing. Now let's make sure before we jump right into solving that problem that I state the problem one more time just to make sure that we are all on the same song sheet. It's no problem making this report if I know the columns. I could make the columns, write a query that reference the columns, and then expand it by who. You see, I could write a query here that looked up on that account, and then I just make it all the way across and I expand it by who. The problem comes in that I'm facing now is that I want a unknown amount of column headings because I maybe don't know all of the accounts that I'm using, and an unknown number of rows. Well, the unknown number of rows is nothing new, but the unknown number of column headings is the task that we're challenged with now. So I make a report that goes out through the whole SunPlus world that looks at the 81 accounts. Well, I don't know how many 81 accounts are out there, so I can't make it very easily. And so that brings us to our new functionality. And here we go with the new stuff. And so I'm down here with my wage audit, and let me delete that deal that I did there. And you're going to see something really cool. So first off, I am right-clicking, and let me point out to you, it says I've got a worksheet tab here and a document tab here. All right, so now I'm going to come over here and right-click on the sheet properties. I've selected the wage audit sheet that I'm working on, and I'm now going to get rid of the worksheet. And I'm going to come over to Cube Analysis and cut that on. So I took off Worksheet and cut on Cube Analysis. And so we go OK with that. And so now I've got a sheet that's called Cube Analysis up here instead of Worksheet. By the way, I could get rid of that document sheet if I wanted to. I just take this and go to Sheet Properties, go over here to Document, and say I don't want that at all, and I go OK, and all I've got is my cube analysis. Now the cube analysis looks pretty boring here, and let me just show you the way it works. So I'm coming into this area here anywhere I want, and I right click and I define the criteria, and so I will take the table, the same sort of thing I just did for a few minutes ago, ledger, and remember we're in design mode now. This is not a drill down, this is a design mode deal, and I put my 81 accounts here, same problem, and I go 81 ZZZZ, and I want to do it for 2009, 2009, 001. And if I were really doing this for the financial statements, I would link these all into the prompts, but this is OK here. And then I will take my base amount and click it on the right. And so, in general, this is exactly the query we wrote just a minute ago. But now I'm going to do something a little bit different. I want my account code and description to be the headings of my columns, and I want my who to be the rows, okay, of my report. So I'll go like that, and now watch this. This is the little trick here. I've got account code, a name here. I want to be the rows. That's the employee name. So I'll come right up here. I click the options tab right there, and it defaulted that I'm measuring the base amount, and I want the who to be the account code to be not account code. We'll come back to that in a minute. We want the name to be the rows, okay? And so I go okay with that, and I've got right now I've got the name be in the rows, and I would like totals to appear at the far right. Okay, these are rows. The total for the rows will be there. And I don't want to show symbols, and I want to show 1,000 separators. All right, and here is a little trick. I want my column headings to be my account code and description. Remember, you heard it first here. I want these to be a single heading. Okay, I don't want two things here, so I'm going to right click here. Okay, right click and go to combinations and click the two that are linking. That really basically makes one variable, one field, okay, with two things hooked to it. And you could see here that we have that, and so have it concatenated here. So now I come to these options again, and I will say that I want this to be a column. I think I'm okay, and I want my columns to have a total. I think I'm all set here, and so I go okay. And so now I can extract my report. A little bit there to keep you from being bored. And so now we go down to our working capital page. Excuse me, our wage. Now we'll go down to our wage audit page, and you see we have our wage audit, and we have it now is just a regular report like all the other pages. It's not a drill down. It's something that could be saved. It doesn't have to be worried about it maintaining. And here is our wage audit, and it's a little bit unsatisfactory, the titles across here, but it's not too bad. Okay, and we come across here with each of our accounts, and you can see we have totals across here, and I'm not able to really scroll and keep it on the screen, the right hand side, but the right hand side has totals as well. And the cool thing about it is that every account is being picked up in that range whether I knew about it or not, and every employee. So I have a variable number of employees and a variable number of accounts, and making a pretty cool report, two-dimensional report. Now, here is the challenge. In all of our other reports, we have a heading of the organization and the name of the report and our dates from our automatic dating structure. What I need to figure out, and hopefully you can help me with, is that you can help me figure out how to automatically get in the dates for the report and the name of the business unit the report is being run on. And so that's what I'm opening to the SunPlus world, and I'm hoping I can get some help with that.